Hello, today I'll be doing a review for an album where my opinion really changed over time, and that album is, of course, A Thousand Suns by Linkin Park. If my memory is correct, this album came out when I was in fifth grade, and I became a fan around like 2008, 2007, somewhere in there. But I remember when this album was coming out and hearing the singles, and I just remember being kind of on the fence about what I was hearing and just kind of being unsure of what to think about what I was hearing from the album. But when the album finally came out, I remember as a young kid just being very disappointed and unhappy with this album. Now, I do remember liking a few songs like Reticent and Blackout, but at the end of the day, I still remember just being very disappointed. But as I've gotten older and kind of grown with this album and giving it more listens as time has gone on, there are many songs on the album that have actually grown on me, and I've grown to like the album a bit more as I've gotten older. But you also got to remember that I was still in elementary school when this album came out. I was still a young kid, but either way, let's go ahead and dive into this album. The album starts off with an interlude called The Requiem, and this is a short interlude, and musically kind of sounds a bit theatrical or cinematic in a way, kind of building up an interesting atmosphere for the album. Now, also, the album, of course, is a concept album that deals with human fears such as nuclear war. But anyways, back to The Requiem. Overall, kind of an interesting interlude. But then we get to The Radiance, which is another short interlude, and you get someone speaking in this interlude or giving commentary or something like that. But we eventually get to the track Burning in the Skies. And with this song, a bit more melodic, a bit more down to earth. And Chester, he doesn't sound the most excited vocally in this song, and he doesn't have to be, but it's never been a song that's really gripped me all that much. Now, I can understand why someone would enjoy this song or really like it or say it's one of their favorites on the album, but for me, I've always found the song to just be only okay, but again, not bad. But next, we're going to go ahead and move on to the interlude, Empty Spaces, and I'm going to be honest, this interlude doesn't really offer much to this album or much of anything interesting to the album. You get some gunfire, and if I remember correctly, you also get some crickets in there too. Not much to say, but that's basically it with the song. But we're going to go ahead and move on to When They Come For Me, and you have some sort of treble drum used in this song, and I actually kind of like this song. And if I remember correctly, the song makes references to, or not references, but pays homage to Public Enemy. I did not know that until recently, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I don't listen to Public Enemy or anything. I only know like maybe a few songs, but either way, this song has always been one of my personal favorites on the album, actually. Maybe not a song that I return to a lot, but I've always found it to be kind of unique and kind of different for Linkin Park, and for what it's worth, I'd say it's a song worth giving another listen if you haven't heard it in a while. But yeah, definitely a unique song on the album for sure, and definitely a unique song for Linkin Park too. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to Robot Boy. This, I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure this might make some people upset. I don't know, but I never cared for this song at all. It's one of those songs where you listen to it, and then once it's done, you forgot you're actually listening to music. I believe the YouTuber, what's his name, Rocked. I believe he said something in that nature when he was doing a Regretting the Past for this album. I remember he said something about the song being kind of like listening to a void or something in that nature. He definitely put it best for this song, and I don't know. It's one of those songs that just has always kind of bored me, to be honest, and I never had any desire to return to it. Even to this day, I still don't really care much for the song. I mean, it's not unlistenable, but I just never could get into it. But next, we're going to go ahead and move on to the instrumental, or not instrumental, but interlude, Jornada del Muerto. I probably butchered that, but feel free to correct me in the comment section below about, of course, how to pronounce it. And this instrumental, or interlude, I believe you get a speech in here. I believe it was based off of a quote from Martin Luther King, and it's okay. I mean, not much to say about it. It's just one of those interludes, in my opinion, that just doesn't really leave much of a lasting impression on you, at least for me. I mean, if you like it, more power to you. I mean, it's definitely cool that they're doing something a bit interesting and different for this album, but with this song or interlude, again, doesn't really do much for me, but not bad. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to one of the highlights on the album, Waiting for the End. A bit more poppy, a bit more electronic for them, but vocally, Chester sounds really good in this song. Maybe vocally one of his best moments on the album, and I could see why many fans really dig this song and why they say it's maybe one of their best songs. For me, I don't know if it's one of my favorite Linkin Park songs, but it's, again, one of the highlights on the album in my opinion for sure. But overall, pretty cool song, and definitely a song worth returning to more and more. But next we have the song Blackout, and this was one of the few songs that I liked when I heard the album for the first time as a young kid, and it's interesting hearing Chester scream over a simple beat. And looking back at the song now, I think it's a decent song. I don't know if it's one of my favorites nowadays, but either way, it's still a pretty interesting song, and get a bit of a change in pace, or the song goes a different direction towards the middle part of the song, and you can tell that they're trying to experiment or try different things in terms of like song structure, and this song is an example of that. And overall, I think it's a decent song. But next we have easily one of my favorites on the album, Reticent Kings, and if I remember correctly, this song makes references to a Jay-Z album. I can't remember the name of the album, but it's again one of my favorites on the album. I like the guitar in this song, and Mike sounds pretty dang good in this song too. His rapping, I mean, it's definitely one of the more engaging songs on the album for me personally, and musically I think it's pretty cool too. You do get a bit of commentary or speeches throughout the song too, little moments of that, but either way, still a pretty solid song, and definitely, again, one of the highlights on the album. But next we have the interlude, Wisdom, Justice, and Love, and I believe this is another song that was influenced or based off of something from Martin Luther King, and it's fine. It's just not, to be honest, it's just really another interlude. I mean, it's not bad, but again, kind of like with track number 7, doesn't really leave much of a lasting impression, but again, not bad. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the song Reticent, if I pronounced that correctly, and I believe this was one of Chester Bennington's favorite songs on the album. I believe it was this one and Waiting for the End, and this song has a sense of beauty to it. Chester, again, sounds really good in this song, and this song is another example of how well Chester can be with his melodic voice, and how his voice can really pull you into a song, and in this song, it definitely accomplishes that. But overall, it's a good song. I don't love it, but I do like it though. But next we have another interlude, Fallout, which is definitely one of the least interesting tracks on the album for sure. Again, not bad, but it's kind of just another track for me. But we're going to go ahead and go on to one of the highlights on the album, in my opinion, The Catalyst, which was, of course, the first single. And I remember when I heard this song for the first time and just kind of being on the fence, wasn't really sure what to think at first, but over time I grew to like the song more and more, and I actually really, really like it now. Maybe one of the best songs, I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's a really strong song overall, and not a bad choice for a single, and I think DJ Han, or Mr. Han, does a really good job in this song, especially with certain moments throughout the song too. And Chester maybe one of his best vocal moments on the album too, but all around a great track. But the album closes off with The Messenger. They go a bit more stripped down for this song. You have the acoustic guitar and Chester singing, but vocally there are moments from Chester where he just sounds a bit awkward over the acoustic guitar. There are moments where it sounds like where he tries to scream or shout or whatever, or kind of screech, or however you want to put it, and it just, again, sounds really awkward over the acoustic guitar and kind of pulls you out of the moment, pulls you out of the, I guess you could say, vibe of the song with, of course, the acoustic guitar. I mean, it's not bad. I'm sure I've said that many times throughout this review, but I'll admit it's not the strongest closing track. But anyways, if I had to rate this album, I know this is often considered one of their best, or for some people, they think this album is Linkin Park's best. And I mean, I get it. I mean, it's ambitious and unique in their discography, but so I might trigger some people with my rating. But if I had to rate this album, I'd maybe go for maybe a 7.8. I mean, I know some people would probably go for maybe a 9 or a 9.5. And listen, I get it. I get why some fans, especially nowadays, praise this album. But don't get I don't know, triggered too much by my rating, because I still do like the album, even if it's not my favorite. But just because an album isn't my favorite doesn't mean that I don't like it. Duh. But Meteor, if you didn't hear from my Minutes to Midnight review, Meteor is my favorite Linkin Park album. But either way, pretty solid album, definitely ambitious and unique in their discography. And of course, if you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on the album. Do you think it's their best? Do you think it's one of their best? How does this album compare to their other albums for you personally, and all the good stuff? But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.